Hello everyone and welcome back to the Prairie Knitter. My name is Celeste. I am from Central Alberta, hence the name of the channel. I am so glad to be back for my fourth podcast. The first three were so fun to film, and this one's had a few hiccups. I had to refilm this, or I'm having to refilm this today. I ran into a bit of a speed bump yesterday with my filming, and there was just a few things that I wanted to change. So I'm happy to be back for podcast number 4. I've been alternating between podcasts and other knitting content. So last week we discussed all of the patterns that I am terrified of, or at least 10 of them. There's more. But if you haven't seen that video, please feel free to go back and give that a watch. There was some really fun comments as well, people with advice, people who could relate, and I just want you to know that I appreciate every single comment. If you are a returning viewer, I'm so grateful that you came back, and if you're a new viewer, I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy and feel like sticking around. So to jump right into it, I follow a standard podcast format. I don't have any finished objects today though, so we'll go with works in progress and then acquisitions, and then a little chit chat at the end about some exciting things for the knitting community, or at least what I consider very exciting for the knitting community. Yeah, so we'll jump right into it. The first work in progress that I want to talk about is my Persephone Cardigan by Queer Knits. So this is just in the baby stages. It's barely anything right now, and so it's not going to look like much, but here we go. So this is what we got. So obviously the back of the cardigan here, and then the shoulder caps here. These shoulder caps are worked with short rows to create this shape, and then you join the shoulder pieces together. I just blanked on that word. With these back stitches, and then you work what seems to be raglan stitches for the rest of the yoke. This pattern normally does have a lace sleeve, but I'm omitting that. I felt like I wanted a really simple black tie front cardigan, and this fit the bill. I just didn't feel like it needed the lace. I'm still gonna do, I think it's a bell sleeve, but I'm not going to do the lace pattern, which definitely caused me some trouble early on because there were some increases in the chart, and because I wasn't initially following the chart, because I was like, oh, I'm omitting the lace, so I don't need to follow the chart. And then I realized, oh, I'm not increasing enough, so I don't have enough stitches for these sleeves, so I had to rip back, increase to the correct amount of stitches like you would in the chart, and then just omit any lace and just increase. So that was a bit of an interesting hurdle. I definitely think I may have made a mistake in the short rows for the shoulder caps. I'm not entirely sure how, but it happened. I will say this, like, I'm not sure if it's me or if it's the pattern, but something about this pattern has been really difficult for me to figure at points. I've not had the easiest time reading it, which is kind of disappointing. Like I said, it could be me. Like, I could just be I could just be reading this poorly, and that's why I'm not getting it that quick. It could be a new construction, so maybe that's why I'm struggling with it a little bit. But I haven't had the best experience with this pattern so far, and I'm hoping it improves. Yeah, it's just been a bit rocky. I'm now into just like raglans, I think. So that shouldn't be too difficult. I imagine I can probably just knit pretty mindlessly on it. But yeah, after I put it down the first day, I was like, oh, that was a lot. And I haven't necessarily been keen to pick it back up just because, yeah, that first day was just a little rough. So that's my Persephone cardigan. The designer is new to me. I've never done anything by her. And I'm knitting this on 4mm needles. And I'm using Estelle double knit, which I believe is 45% wool, 55% acrylic. This is, like, I've worked with Fibre Co vintage a lot, and I'll actually talk about it in this video. That's also an acrylic wool blend. This definitely feels a little more plasticky. I didn't buy this in store, so I didn't get to feel it before I purchased it, and I thought that like if I loved Persephone vintage that this would be similar, and it's just, it looks and feels more plasticky than Persephone vintage does, which is really too bad, and I'm not loving it. I'm trying to tough it out, and I'm hoping that the finished piece just looks better than I think it will. But that's why I'm going with a really simple design, because I think that'll be the best for this type of wool. I don't want to get rid of it because I can stand it, like, and I'm hoping that the finished object is nice, but it's definitely not ideal. And I was really disappointed because I love a good affordable blend. Like, one of the reasons I love Persephone vintage so much is they're really affordable. It's usually about $12 for 265 meters, which is great. Like, with it's the DK, it's probably about the same price for, I want to say 180 for the worsted weight that they carry as well. And they have other brands Persephone does. They have some 100% wool as well. But overall, I found their vintage to be really useful, and it's great for gift knits because it's washable. And I love giving gift knits where the person can just throw it in the wash. They don't have to fuss too much about the care instructions. But yeah, this, not my favorite. I'm hoping it grows on me. I really am. I don't want to end up with a piece I hate. I'm just hoping the wool grows on me a little bit. And this is the color Charcoal, I believe. So I got this at a store in Alberta that I think is going out of business. They just the shop owners wanted to move on to a different stage in their life, so they're closing the store. So I got this on a really good sale. I think it was like half off or 15% off. Half off and 15 are very different numbers, but it was something around there. It was discounted, and so I bought, I want to say 5 or 6 skeins, and it was originally to make the Yun sweater light, but I never got there. That's why November knits, and I just changed my mind and decided that pattern wasn't really what I wanted to make anymore. So I still want to make it eventually. I just didn't think I wanted to make it with a black yarn. I thought it would do so much better with like a lighter color yarn. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my Persephone cardigan. And yeah, so far I'd give the process like a 6 out of 10. Not a high rating, but not a low rating. So we're kind of right in the middle. We're seeing where things land. I'm trying to give it some time. Try not to judge it too harshly at the very beginning. Like, not every pattern setup is enjoyable, and I try to remember that. I was hoping this would be slightly more, but obviously who isn't looking for the most enjoyable knitting experience? But if this is just a product knit, then so be it. There are other knits that are fun process knits, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's my first work in progress. My second work in progress has actually been significantly more fun to work on, and this is using Persephone Vintage DK, so 55% wool, 45% acrylic. Also knit up on 4mm needles. I'm just trying to get it situated here so I can show you. But this is my Amy sweater by Petite Knit. This is completely new to the podcast. Actually, I was showing you the back there. But this is a top-down raglan construction. I'm just trying to get some of the detailing here, but there is some nice detailing along this collar bit. Yeah, this is by Petite Knit. This is being knit up in a size large, but I'm also slightly off gauge. My gauge is just a little bit smaller than I think hers was, which means I'm knitting a bit tighter, which is honestly working in my favor. I'm loving that it's going the way it is. My problem, I've mentioned in the past with Petite Knit, is because my bust is rather disproportionate to my waist, it makes measuring based on my bust, I mean, I have garments that are the right amount of ease right around my bust, but I'm swimming everywhere else, and I don't like that. So I've had trouble with Petite Knit because she also just has an excessive amount of ease in a lot of her patterns, and I don't find that to be incredibly helpful. So what I did this time is I knit 2 sizes down from what she recommended. So she would recommend a 2XL. I went down to a large. And then I knit on a tighter gauge, which worked out. And like 4 millimeters is what the pattern calls for, but my gauge is not what the pattern calls for. And so I'm hoping to get a really tight, like neutral or negative ease fit around the bust, and then some positive ease around my waist. And then it would stop at about my hips, which again, would be neutral or negative. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. That's the goal. And so far, that is what I'm getting. I don't have any barber cord on this to try this on for you, but it is working out so well. We've worked a good probably 4 inches on the body since I split for sleeves, and I've done the collar already. I did that to kind of break up the raglan increases because there was a lot of them. So I took a break about halfway through to work the collar, and I did almost 8 inches of 2x2 ribbing, which was quite a lot. And then bound off, but it was a good way to break up the monotony of the raglan. I felt like it was going on for a bit of forever, so I was like, okay, if I can break this up a little bit, that'd probably be better for me. I won't lose too much momentum. Also, if I sound congested, it's because I am. We are just getting over a cold, and I feel like today, all of a sudden, all the congestion just came back in full force. So if I sound a bit strange, I've got water here, and I am just powering through. I really wanted to film today, and yeah, like I said, I tried to film yesterday and it didn't work out, so I'm really, really determined because I like to get my videos up on Saturday and it's Friday, so later than I wanted to push it, but we are pushing through, doing what we can, and yeah, hopefully you can stand the sound of my voice because I know I sound a bit off. But yeah, so we've discussed the construction, we've discussed the yarn, we've discussed the needles. Overall, like right now, I'm just doing stockinette in the round to knit this body, and I'm probably just gonna try and push through that over the weekend. I feel like it's great. It is great mindless knitting, so it's perfect for watching hockey, and we've got a couple of hockey games to watch today or this weekend. And yeah, it's just great to not have to think about it, especially when you're kind of trying to relax from a long week. It's just a good way to get some knitting done without having to think too much. And then yeah, once I do that, I'll probably go right to the sleeves, and I'm kind of hoping to have this completed by the next time I podcast, which would be 2 weeks from now, so like early November. And it'd be such a nice piece to wear. I think if it turns out the way I'm hoping it will, like even if it grows a little bit in blocking, the fit will be exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm really excited about that because a couple of my petite knit sweaters just don't fit the way I wanted them to. Like they're still wearable. Some, for one reason or other, they might not be. If, like there's a couple that I just made with itchy wool. If that's not the pattern's fault, that's on me. But yeah, this is, I'm hoping gonna be a bit of a slam dunk and might redeem petite knit patterns for me. I'm really hoping that's the case. My Eva cardigan did turn out really well. But yeah, really hoping for good things with this Amy sweater, and honestly, I'm loving how it turned out. It's turning out. This is the color Tide Pool, I believe. And yeah, I'm loving the way the stitches look. I'm actually finding my tension is really even, which is great. I don't always see that before blocking. Usually blocking will even it out, but it seems like we're on a good track so far for a really nice finished object, and I'm really excited about it. So that's work in progress number 2. That's definitely been my focus over the past 2 weeks. I've worked on that pretty monogamously, but I'm trying to break things up a little bit and work on a few other things and not just burn myself out on one project. So yeah, that's why I have more than one thing on the go, even though that has clearly been my passion knit. So my third work in progress is actually a question, and I think I already know the answer, but I'm going to talk it through with you anyway, so you know kind of why. This project is my Easy Color sweater. You can kind of see it here. And I have made no progress since we last spoke about it. And that's why it's on here today, is because I think I'm going to frog it. which is really sad because I was really excited about this piece. But my modification that I made was that I made these raglan stitches in the main color. So this red, which is coming across a little more orange on camera, but this red color was obviously part of the stitch pattern. And I thought, well, we should do the raglan increases in the main color rather than in the stitch pattern. And though I still love that idea because I love the distinction, I didn't take into account that there are at points like 6 rows with the main color that border the raglan stitches. And so it started to look like it was bubbling. And I tried to fix it with like some duplicate stitch, but I just didn't feel like the results were consistent enough to really be a good fix. And I'm really disappointed about it because I really wanted that to work and I really thought it could be something special. And I think I'm just gonna end up frogging this. I didn't want to knit a really large yoke just to find out it really doesn't look good and it looks squiggly, which wasn't the aesthetic I wanted. I wanted a really crisp line. And I should have thought of, you know, the fact that there's quite a few stitches bordering it in the same color. I really just thought it would work out and it didn't. And I'm also noticing that this yarn, like it's a white and a red. This is Haynes Creek Heather's Aran Weight yarn, and this is the colors red and ecru. And I'm really finding the fuzz from the red is overshadowing the white, and we're not getting that crisp white that I'd wanted, which again, not really what I was looking for. So I think there's a couple of things that have just compromised with the vision of this piece, and I just don't think it's going to turn out the way I wanted it to. And I think it's better to quit while I'm ahead and just frog it now and repurpose the yarn, because I feel like there's other things I could do with this yarn, and maybe this just isn't it. Like I was considering, I have 4 balls of Gilead by Derum Natura in a blue color, and I saw the King Salmon sweater and I thought maybe repurpose this white yarn as the contrast color for the King Salmon and do that. So that's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't mind really leaning into Fish Girl Fall a bit, even though it's probably going to be Fish Girl Winter, which does not have the same ring at all. Fish Girl Winter and Fish Girl Fall. I loved the Fish Girl Fall, I just didn't participate, and so maybe I'd be late to the game and jump on that now, but I'm not 100% sure. And if I do that, what do I do with the 5 skeins of the red yarn? Do I make like a slipover? So if you have Aran Weight slipover recommendations, let me know. I'd definitely be pretty keen to do that. Maybe something cabled would be fun, because I did just do a burgundy stockinette slipover with my obsidian slipover, so something cabled would be nice to be a little bit different. I was looking at the Maeve slipover and I really liked it, but I don't remember the gauge off the top of my head and I don't know if that would work. But yeah, Aran Weight slipover recommendations, would be grateful for those. I have 5 skeins with 180 meters a piece, so about 900 meters of Aran Weight yarn. I feel like that's enough to make a slipover. I feel like it should be. But yeah, I'm really sad that this sweater didn't work out. It's by Easy as Knit. I'm knitting it on 4.5 millimeter needles and just no dice on the design choices that I made, which is really too bad. I was actually really proud of the collar because I knit it down perfectly, and I'm sad to have to undo that. I also just hate frogging things. I talked about that in my last video. I feel like a lot of people hate frogging things. I can't imagine there's too many people that find that experience incredibly pleasant, where they're like keen to frog something. I'm not. So yeah, that's my easy color sweater. Really sad that it didn't work, but we move on. It happens, and sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and do it. So that's the story there. I have the swatch up on my board to remember it by, but it won't be becoming a finished object. So the next thing I really want to talk about is acquisitions, and I actually have some this week, which is super exciting. I got an early Christmas present from my in-laws. I was very excited about it. They let me choose some yarn, and so I actually ended up getting to pick 2 full sweater quantities of some yarn that's actually quite hard to come by in Alberta, and I ordered it from a store in Kelowna, and I had enough in my cart that I qualified for free shipping, which was fantastic. I love to qualify for free shipping when I'm placing a yarn order, just because it tends to be quite pricey. As much as I understand why it's $20 usually to ship a big thing of yarn, I really do like to get free shipping when I can. And so yeah, I ordered 2 sweater quantities for my Christmas gift from them. So excited. And so I grabbed 5 skeins of Durham Natura Gilead. Just hopefully you can get a good sense of the color. I'm not sure, I think the lighting's best over here. And this is a nice rust color. I believe the color name is Arabla. This is 100% wool. It is 250 meters per 100 grams. And it's recommended to be knit on 4 to 5 millimeter needles with a gauge of 19 to 17 stitches and 27 to 25 rows. So I got 5 skeins of this, and the loose plan, totally veering off my fall knitting plans. I haven't completely disregarded it. Like, I made the obsidian, and I am frogging the easy color. Maybe all I've done so far on my fall and winter plans. I'll put a little thing up top showing what I've completed and what I haven't and what I'm frogging and whatnot. But not on my fall and winter plans was the Lakes Pullover by Ozetta. I'm not making the V-neck. I want to make the crew neck version of that. And so 5 skeins of worsted weight yarn should be enough for me to do that. I believe it's knit on a worsted weight. So that's why I picked up the Gilead. And I feel like this rust color will be unique enough to my wardrobe, but really a lovely color for a classic, simple pullover. Apparently that's a bit of a theme with me lately, because I've got the Amy sweater, which is a very classic, simple pullover. And then, yeah, looking to knit the Lakes pullover. I was so inspired when I saw, was it Sarah or Jessica from, I feel like I don't remember if that's their names. I know Jessica's one of the twins who knit, but those twins who knit, one of them knit a beautiful red Lakes sweater, Lakes pullover, and it was stunning. And ever since I saw that, I was like, okay, I really need to make a version of my own. And so I thought this rust color would be absolutely adorable. And I don't have a lot of rust colored anything in my wardrobe, so I thought that would kind of fill a hole, which I'm really always quite excited to do. It's just, yeah, I feel like I have a good amount of clothes, and I really like to find ways to make pieces that I create really unique. And yeah, so really excited about this, but that plan may change. I'm really excited about the yarn. If it doesn't become a Lake sweater, well, you heard it here first. Subject to change. We'll see. If you had any other recommendations for what I should use this yarn for, feel free to drop them in the comments. But yeah, that was the first sweater quantity I acquired. So excited about that. The second sweater quantity is the same brand, and it's upside down, but this is their yarn Euless, and this is a sport weight yarn. There's 185 meters per 50 grams. I'm recommended to knit on 3 or 3.5 millimeter needles. It is, again, 100% wool. I love this company because they're really ethical with their practices regarding their wool and how it's sourced. This is in the colorway Cell. I believe all of their color names are in French. So Cell will be salt. I don't know what Arabla would be, or if I'm even saying it right. It's been a long time since I took French. I'm not incredibly skilled at it. I've been learning German in my spare time, but not French. And I think the school system just kind of ruined it for me, like having to learn it in school and learning it the way we did, doing like 10 years of it. Obviously I wasn't French immersion, but 10 years of French classes and still getting nowhere. I really didn't feel like I made any progress at all. So kind of turned me off French in general, even though if I'm gonna learn a language, living in Canada, French is the most practical because it is our second language, or it's like one of our national languages, so I should learn it. I just have no interest in it. So I started learning German, which my husband's family is German, or at least like they have German heritage. I know my husband's dad is fluent, so if I ever get really good, I can talk to him. But otherwise, it was just a language I was quite interested and keen on, so that's why I'm learning it using like Duolingo to do that, and that's been kind of fun. So little side tangent there. But yeah, I have 8 skeins of this Euless, and I've never worked with Euless. I've only worked with Durum Natura Robinson, and I made my Blair vest out of that. So I'm really excited to work with these 2 yarns. Pretty similar, just different weights. And so what I have in mind for this is the Chantal Sweater by Morka Knits. And I think this will be a really nice pattern for this yarn. I think it's an engaging but simple stitch pattern that just is very repetitive, round and around, same slip stitch texture. And I think in the white, like the sample photo, would be really, really beautiful. I just didn't want to do double stranded, so I'm just gonna do the sport weight. Now I'm gonna swatch for this first. You should swatch for all of your knit projects. I'm not always good at that. Like, I didn't swatch for the Amy sweater, but I want to swatch specifically, not just to figure out if I'm on gauge, but to make sure that that stitch pattern looks good single stranded. That's one of my concerns, is that because the pattern typically calls for a lace weight and a fingering weight, and I'm doing just a sport weight, I should have no issues getting at least a similar gauge. But the question then remains, will it look good without those 2 yarns held together and just 1 yarn? And I'm hoping the answer is yes, but if not, I'm definitely preparing myself to have to pivot and do something else. I have 8 skeins, which I can't do the math right now, but it's probably somewhere around 1,400 meters, which I think is enough for most sweaters for me. So I also have some Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia in a red color. So I was like, if that swatch doesn't work out, maybe I do some sort of color work Christmas sweater. I think the camera angle is just a touch different, but my phone ran out of storage, so we had to pivot and do some storage management. Turns out I just had some video files from yesterday in my recently deleted, and I hadn't gotten rid of them yet, so we had to fix that. But as I was saying, oh, what was I saying? I was talking about possible Christmas sweater. I probably should have jogged my memory and watched my recent footage. But I think I was finishing up talking about this Euless. So yeah, possibly the Chantal sweater, maybe a Christmas sweater. Would I finish it in time? Probably not. So in that case, who knows? But yeah, if you have other suggestions for Euless, let me know. I'd happily hear your sport weight sweater suggestions. But yeah, I did really like, I'm just so grateful that I got 2 sweater quantities from that brand. It's such a fun brand to get, and like I said, I can't find them in any Alberta yarn shops, which is really surprising to me, because I feel like they're such a great brand. I'm just wondering why people, like, more shops don't carry it. I've seen it in yarn shops in Victoria, BC, and yeah, it's in the one in Kelowna, but just nowhere in the shops that I've been to in Alberta have I seen this yarn, which is really sad, because I feel like more people should be using it. It's a great yarn to work with, at least based on my experience with Robinson. So yeah, hoping that that works out really nicely. And yeah, I don't have any more acquisitions of the yarn variety, but I did want to talk about some things in the knitting world. So one of that is a new collection drop by Sunday Fibre Co. And I love Sunday Fibre Co. Partially just love the way she creates content, and I love how real and raw her Instagram stories are. She's just so open about her creative process and about the creations of her collections. And then the inspiration behind her collections is stunning. She just recently released the Grand Palette, and that was incredible. Like, what a beautiful collection. And that was based on Wes Anderson films. So she's doing another collection, and it releases like for pre-order, I believe it's tomorrow. So I guess when you're watching this, probably today, or it's already out, but it releases on October 25th. So for me, that's tomorrow, Saturday. And it'll be available for pre-order, and then probably a couple months before you would actually receive the yarn. But this collection is based on the 70s, and she's using vintage ads to make like the promo for each color, and I think it looks incredible. She's doing 16 colors, and I think as of today they've probably all been revealed, but I feel like I still haven't seen one. I didn't check this morning. But my favorite colors so far are Lemon Whip and Pillow Talk, and I'll show the colors somewhere on the screen that she's released, and the promotional work she's done for them is really incredible. But yeah, if you haven't heard of that collection, I just wanted to draw your attention to it because I think it's so beautiful. I think it's so tasteful. I think the colors are really unique. And yeah, I just wanted to shout that business out because I've bought some of her yarn before and I had such a great time working with it. And I feel like more people should be supporting her if you are able. I don't actually think I'm going to be able to order from this pre-order, which is really sad. I wish I could. I think if I could, I would get a sweater's quantity for like a striped moment for like maybe an Olga jacket or a jean sweater. And I would pair Lemon Whip and Pillow Talk, probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 skeins of each in a DK weight and do that. But I don't think it's gonna be something I can do this time around. Maybe I'll be able to buy like some of her, like from her in-stock update later on. But if you can support her and you want to order from this pre-order, I would highly recommend you do so. Yeah, she does incredible work and worth supporting. And I just wanted to make sure that her business got a little bit of attention, even from my small corner of the internet, because I think what she does is incredible and worth talking about. So that is her collection drop that is happening tomorrow. And it's, yeah, all around the 70s. And yeah, I've been loving leaning into some of those like 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Even in our home decor, I'm kind of trying to move towards less modern, less white, less gray, more wood and more like warmth and coziness, maybe a little bit of mismatched colors. I'm just trying to find things that make our house just a little less sterile and a little more cozy. Like mismatching woods and that kind of thing. So I've been doing a lot of thrifting and a lot of looking on Marketplace to see what I can find for different decor. It's such a silly little thing, but we got a new Christmas tree. New to us, it's used, but it was a pre-lit Christmas tree and it had the colored lights, and I don't know, something about that was so nostalgic to me, and I really wanted colored lights instead of white lights this year. And well, I guess for the years going forward, we're not just going to use this tree once and get rid of it. But our last tree broke, so it was time to get a new fake tree. I think when I was a kid, we got a lot of like actual trees that we would go cut down, but I like to have my Christmas tree up for quite a lot longer than is normal. Like I intend to put mine up on November 1st. I know a lot of people say you should wait till after Remembrance Day, and though I have the utmost respect to our veterans, I don't see a huge issue with putting my tree up before Remembrance Day. I still think Remembrance Day is worth honoring, but small controversy around putting up your tree before November 11th. But yeah, I will be putting up my tree probably next weekend, which is really exciting. My poor husband is not quite so invested in having the tree up in November, but if you get a real tree, that's just not possible. It dries out well before Christmas. So yeah, we've got a fake pre-lit tree, which I'm very excited about the pre-lit part. I hate stringing lights. It's just such a difficult task for me to do. And yeah, so we got that. And again, colored lights, and I feel like that leans into the vintage Christmas aesthetic, which I'm really trying to pursue. And yeah, I just want our home to feel more lived in, less magazine from the 2010s era. I feel like that's that's when that white was really full force. I feel like that modern push that everyone did was really big then. So long tangent about home decor. But yeah, if you can support Sunday Fibre Co, her collection is stunning, her work is beautiful, her dye is incredible. So many adjectives there. But yeah, collection drops October 25th, and you can open, like the pre-order will be open. You can pre-order whatever you would like from her most recent drop. So that's all the knitting news that I have. And I think that'll be the end of this podcast. So thank you so much for being here. If you liked this video, it was a bit scrambled at points, but if you liked this video, please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you're knitting on, or if you have answers to any of the questions that I posed during this half hour or so. Yeah, please leave it down below. I try to respond to every single comment, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have something fun to knit on, and I hope you rest and relax and recuperate over the weekend. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you so much, and have a great day.